I'll tell you, probably like you and Tanya, Dawn and I were watching the events unfold last night, well past midnight, and we were shocked, saddened. But I'll tell you, there was at one point where I also mentioned to Dawn, we probably don't completely understand it, because you and I have had different life experiences growing up. Almost every room I've walked into has been full of me. And the systems that we operate in are sort of designed by me, for me. And so I think the airmen and everyone will be really interested in sort of in your thoughts. I mean, as you and Tanya watched this unfold, I mean, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I've been really outraged for not just the last week, but for it drew up a lot of rage and a lot of anger from the past, because I've just watched this over and over and over again, and I not only see myself in George Floyd, I see my two sons, I see the young airmen in our Air Force. This could happen to any of us. I think I talked to you one time before about the fear I have when I'm driving down, whether it's the Beltway or any street around here, and I see blue lights, because I think it doesn't matter if I'm the chief or whomever. And frankly, it doesn't really matter if I do everything right. This has been a tough week for me, just kind of thinking about this, and my greatest fear is not for myself. It's that I'll wake up one day and one of our airmen will be George Floyd or Tamir Rice, or you Philando Castile, you name the person. So it's been tough, but I also realized that one, it's okay for us to be angry. It's okay for me to be angry, but at some point I then have to decide, okay, what next, and what should we be doing about it? What conversations should we be having? I realize race is a tough conversation for a lot of us, for a lot of our commanders out in the field. What would you recommend to them in terms of how to talk about this with their airmen?
Yeah, it's about creating a comfortable space to have this difficult dialogue that very often, because it's so difficult, we avoid it. Mm-hmm. And it may be the one big opportunity that's been presented to us in this tragedy, is to stop walking by the problem. How do we, what are your thoughts on this? How do we create a safe space for this discussion? And oh, by the way, this is not a one discussion.
Right.
We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get better overnight. This is weeks and months of engagement at every echelon of command to create the safe space for greater understanding. Any thoughts on, what our command teams ought to be thinking about?
Yeah, I think, I hear commanders, say all the time. I hear leaders, commanders, chiefs, first sergeants say all the time that one of their strengths is the ability to have tough conversations and whatnot. Well, now is the time to prove it, right? These conversations are difficult, they're tough, but they are necessary. You have to be able to talk about this. Really, you have to, I think, more than talk about it, you got to be willing to listen to how our Black airmen feel about not just this situation, but how they feel in general.
And I think if we all strive to do that, to gain better understanding, to understand our airmen, to acknowledge that we do have a problem in our Air Force that we have to get after, that's our role as leaders.
Yes, sir.
And I'll tell you, I know I speak for 685,000 airmen who are just thrilled that you're our chief. Yeah. So thanks for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Lots of work to be done.